Hello and welcome back to another Talking Tale video. In today's one, we're at the TMNT, the Archie Adventures, issue number 40, and oh boy, this one was boring and a bit confusing and just, I don't even know why they even try to do a story like this, but with this story, it's mainly focusing on the turtles, Splinter and Ninja. They're trying to go back home, but yet they somehow wind up on a beach. But it turns out that because they landed on this beach 500 years after a certain event, they now time travel back in time to when they were first discovering America or something like that. So it's a very weird issue that has a lot of weird stuff in this one, and it doesn't get better or easier to understand what's happening in this one. But well, they at least tried. So yeah, let's get to this one. So on the first page, we do get to see them just sort of recapping some stuff that happened in the last issue, where we do get to see them talking about they stopped all these bad guys in the last issue, the four horsemen and all that kind of stuff, and now they're just trying to go back home. And this one do get to see on the next couple of pages what eventually led up to the Turtles going onto the beach. And it turns out they're doing trying some new inventions, which somehow was able to get some equipment for out in the middle of nowhere, and it's how to build some devices to try to help speed up the boats and that kind of stuff. But how? He's in the middle of the ocean, and yet he's somehow able to find a propeller and all that kind of stuff. How? He's in the middle of the ocean. But yeah, so after that we do get to see the Turtles. They do wind up on the beach, and they do get to see all these people, and they don't actually speak English because they were speaking a different language because they were part of a tribe that wasn't discovered until America found them, from what I can tell, but I may be wrong about that. And for the most part, the Turtles are not too sure what to really do because, well, they don't want to attack them and provoke them and all that kind of stuff. So then they somehow get interrupted by some pirates, or not really pirates, but some explorers, and I'd say that this could have been a really interesting thing had they gone a bit more into all the stuff which they were sort of talking about with the explorers, time travel, and all that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, this part it only gets worse and more boring after this, which I am quite surprised by this because this sort of stuff I would really enjoy, but unfortunately they don't really do too much with it. And we do get to see Splinter. He tells them all to just put their weapons down. Tells Donnie to go with them just so that and there can still be peace between everyone and all that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, everyone stays. So I guess we'll talk about the stuff with the Turtles on the beach, and this is where things just get a little bit funny, just because there's so many so many different things throughout this issue where they color the turtles wrong and they give them different bandanas. And it's just so confusing, when we do get to see, and this especially happens to Raph and Mikey throughout this issue, where they're talking and turns out that it's not actually Mikey, it's actually Raph, and vice versa, and all that kind of stuff throughout the entire issue, and it gets so confusing, and, I mean, a bit confusing, but at the same time, I mean, it is hilarious, I won't lie, because and there's one scene where we've got to see Mikey, Raph talking to Leo with Mikey's colours. However, in the next page, you get to see it with Raph with his right colours. So, it's a very confusing situation, but I absolutely love it because of the mistakes. But it really does add on to the whole 87 vibe of things. And we do get to see Leo and Raph, they're talking, and Raph is a bit upset and annoyed for the fact that they can't really do anything. And then that's when they do get to see that some of the people who won on the ship, they start to turn around to try and tackle all the people. So the Turtles step in and they start to beat them up, and it works. And then after that, they're all oh yeah, so clearly they don't really care about the peace and all that kind of stuff. So let's go over and try and save Donnie. Now, with Donnie's situation, it's a unique one, just because the captain, he tries to tell Donnie what his plan is and all that kind of stuff, and basically his plan is to just use him, sell him on, get money. And this is also during the period where I think they're also talking about slaves or something like that. So I think that he's going to possibly try to sell him off to be a slave, which yeah, this is getting a little bit in the iffy territory for comics, but we will try to go through this as normal as we can. But yeah, I don't understand why he's he's talking to Donatello if he knows that he won't understand him or anything like that. It just seems a bit pointless. But that's when we do get to see Donnie. He interacts with this weird earth creature thing, and I'm not too sure what this monster really is. He says that he's a earth spirit, and it does go on to reveal everything to Donnie, saying that basically, like, all the events like happened 500 years ago, and this is the 500-year anniversary of all this kind of stuff. So naturally, it makes sense to just do some time travel stuff because it's the anniversary. And why? It's just so stupid. I have no idea why we're doing it. It is so stupid. And this creature, he goes on to explain the importance of this event, which I guess is somewhat important, but at the same time, I don't know a lot about the American history and all that kind of stuff, so for me, I don't really think this is too important, but at the same time, looking into what he's saying, I'm like, yeah, this is a really important thing, but at the same time, they're really trying, like, trying to pass these stories off for kids is not a bad thing, because trying to tell people about the history and all that kind of stuff, which is really great. But at the same time, this is supposed to be for kids, and oh boy. But he goes on to explain that these people, they explore around the world, they take people, the slaves and all that kind of stuff, and they bring them to America. They also bring, like diseases and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so, I mean, if that really did happen in real life, I know that's every part that did happen in real life, that, yeah, but like, if like this person was real and all this stuff is actually real, then, yeah, I mean, it's cool to know about the history and all that kind of stuff. That's quite, I don't think nice is the right word to use when talking about this kind of stuff, but it's good to, like, learn about history and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's just weird that they're, like, going through, like, multiple different, like, stuff that, like, I wouldn't really say is stuff really suitable to, like, having, like, kids stuff. Not saying for like you shouldn't put it in there because it's important to know about history and the past and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, these are stories for kids. It want to be a bit more entertaining, uplifting, and happy, and not talk about slavery, which it just seems, yeah. But after that, Donnie, he escapes from the boat, and there's another tidal wave, and he wakes up on the same beach, but this time in modern day, and then he just sees a cruise ship, and he's on it. So yeah, they're all going back to New York in the next issue. Great, but yeah, this issue overall was definitely something which I was not really expecting to go back to. I mean, I remember this issue the first time I read it, and from what I can remember, I got a little bit bored, but looking back on it now and reading it properly as an adult, it's a lot more interesting. I won't lie, the whole history part of it was quite, like, nice to read and learn about some more American history, if all that did actually happen in real life. At the same time, though, what I have said about the, like, slavery side of things, I mean, it's important to learn about this kind of stuff, and, don't want to, like, repeat any mistakes from the past, but at the same time, these stories are supposed to be for kids. Why not make it uplifting and entertaining and happy? But yeah, it's not the best issue I've read, but it's also not the worst, but it could have been a lot better. But yeah, let me know in the comment section below what do you think about this issue. Do you like it? Do you not? And yeah, that's it for today, guys. If you please share, subscribe, and all that stuff. Goodbye, yo, bye.